Hello. First thing I want to say, I saw the first episode of your new show and I really enjoyed it. So I hope it lasts for a long time. Okay, as for Ghostbusters, I heard you mention a few times that when you were younger, you said you wanted to marry Egon Spengler. I didn't realize it was cartoon Egon Spengler. Not that makes a difference. So for me, I mean, I enjoyed the cartoon, although I was a bit older, so it didn't have the same impact on me. Even the second movie, I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but I think it's it was tough to live up to the first one. But the original Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies of all time, and my favorite comedy of all time. It was the first movie we owned as family on VHS. For anyone young out there, before you could download movies, before even Blu-ray and DVDs, we had these block things you would stick in your VCR and watch movies. No, but yeah, it was the first movie we owned. So every Saturday night when I was younger, we would go to my father's friend's house, and he had a few kids around my age. We pretty much called ourselves cousins. We were so close. And we would watch it almost every week. There was a time I could probably recite it almost line for line. Uh, but yeah, I think one of the funniest movies of all time. It works both I feel as an intelligent comedy and as kind of like a dumb, goofy comedy, and it meshes it both very well together. Even just thinking about the movie as I'm going along, laughing at certain scenes in my head, just thinking about them in the library yelling "Get her" and running away from the ghost just has me giggling. Yes, favorite things about Ghostbusters, and it's hard for me to pick just one or even like 10 from the movie. There were so many great things and so many great lines. If someone were to ask me my favorite 10 or 20 movie lines of all time, probably half of them would be from Ghostbusters. Like I said, there are so many classics, not even the big ones, just little ones. And I personally feel it holds up well. I went years where I didn't see it, and I saw it again, and I still found myself laughing. So I really think it's like I said, one of the best movies of all time. So when I heard they were going to make the remake, reboot, whatever, my initial reaction was, "Oh God, no, not Ghostbusters." uh, I feel like, first of all, it was almost a perfect movie. It doesn't really need to be redone. And I guess I kind of have a certain feeling about what should and shouldn't be remade. Something like the superhero movies, I realize every so often we have to, reboot them or at least recast them. You get different takes on, characters that have been around for, you know, 50, 80 years. And the actors can't play the same character forever. There's going to come a point where Robert Downey is going to be a little too old to play Iron Man if he's not there already. And don't get me wrong, he's a great Tony Stark, but he's a little older than Tony Stark's supposed to be in the comics. Um, I realize that. I realize, sometimes there are movies where you feel better special effects will help. I don't feel that's necessary for Ghostbusters. Yes, some of the special effects could be improved on, but I feel the type of movie it is, special effects are secondary as a comedy, and almost cheesy special effects almost work better, something like that. I know a lot of like '80s TV shows have been remade into movies. Stuff I look forward to. A Team and Transformers. I was kind of excited to see. Maybe a little disappointed. I think the highlight of Transformers was probably Megan Fox bending over the car, but at the time I was excited to see a Transformers movie, and I don't feel that way about Ghostbusters. I think part of that comes from the fact that so it's for me it's those characters and the actors portraying them. Uh, First of all, I mean that was an all-star cast from you know the leads of Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Hal Ramis, all the way down to you know uh, William Atherton as Walter Peck from the EPA, who seems to play the perfect douchebag in every movie he's in. But when some of the actors are also the writers of the movie, it's hard to see someone else in that role, whether it's the same character or a similar type character. I guess well, I'm not a huge fan of his. It would be like remaking an Adam Sandler movie with a different actor. You expect Adam Sandler to play those characters. So once I got past the initial, oh God, no, I guess I thought getting into what I want to see and don't want to see, realizing that, anything that they can make money on, they're going to redo. So I guess Rose, when it comes to the studio, like I said, if they can make money, which they're going to make a ton of money, and the first couple of weeks seems to be all that matters with movies, whether it's people who have never seen it and are curious, people who want to see more Ghostbusters, or people who just want to knock it. They're going to see it. Most of us are going to see it. It's just like, for me, like Batman versus Superman. Most of us really went into it thinking it's not going to be very good, but we saw it anyway. Admittedly, I had a coupon, so I saved a couple bucks, and it was slightly better than I thought it was going to be. Not saying it was good, but it also did. I felt vindicated that the Batman Superman fight pretty much went the way I said. I felt one would go in my Batman Superman Naked Truth response, but enough patting myself on the back. But what I hope is the other people involved in the movie, the writers and the directors, they are doing this because they were fans of the original Ghostbusters, and they have the same passion that the rest of us who are fans do. I feel that's when movies work the best. These remakes, I look at, I think there are some analogies, even though they're totally different movies, but now just to The Force Awakens. I think part of the success was that it was made by someone who was a fan of Star Wars and I guess knew what the fans wanted. You know, when you make a movie and you're attaching Ghostbusters to the title, you know, you're inevitably going to be compared to the original Ghostbusters. So even if it's good, it's not going to be good enough for a lot of people. You know, you could be exterminators fighting some giant mutant cockroach. It doesn't have to be Ghostbusters. So if you're going to be Ghostbusters, you're set to a high. People's expectations are going to be set to a higher standard, or at least the bar is going to be set higher. I don't know that people's expectations that don't seem to be that high. Uh, but yeah, some of the comparisons to The Force Awakens, I just look at the trailer. At the end of one of the trailers, you see Han Solo and he goes, "Chewie, we're home," and that got people so excited. Um, but forwards from one line in a trailer months before the movie came out spawned T-shirts that you saw all over the place, and that's the type of thing I want to see Ghostbusters do. And I said this right after I heard about it. I said you knew there were going to be cameos from the original cast, but what I hope, you know, looking at IMDb, I noticed they don't tell you what characters are going to play. I hope this is more a sequel than a reboot. I hope Bill Murray is playing Peter Venkman and Dan Aykroyd's playing Ray Stantz. They're not playing other characters. I just see them sitting around the room thinking, wouldn't it be funny if Bill Murray plays someone from the EPA because that was his nemesis in the movie. As you said, you want to see more of this universe, and if they're going to do it, that's what I want to see too. I want to see them expand on what has already happened, not an alternate universe where these people are playing other characters. And I think if you do that, if you bring these characters in, you know, if you had someone say, "Oh, never cross the streams," and Murray or Ackroyd, say, "Well, on occasion you can cross the streams." I think something like that would work. I think it allows you to pay homage to the original movie without feeling like you're copying it. And I think again, that's what I felt Force Awakens did very well, with the exception of the Star Killer base, which I really feel we needed another Death Star, although the name was cool. Was cool. Very if you know the history of the name, but just the little things, the comment about this is the ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs, the chessboard or whatever it is where that Chewbacca and the droids were playing. Little stuff like that worked because it was a sequel, a continuation of the series, and I felt by having you know Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill playing their original characters, you're able to pass the torch to the next generation. And I really hope. I'm afraid that's not what they're going to do, but I really hope that's the way they're going to do it, so it doesn't just feel like they're using the Ghostbusters name, but we're expanding this universe. I'd also say, obviously, the one cameo we're not going to get is Harold Ramis. Uh, but how great would it be if we found out one of the girls was Egon Spengler's daughter? I know some of them have his name, but I could see him as someone who donated his sperm to science. But even if it's not that, if he died in real life, if he died in the movie and just they took the mother's name or something, I think little things like that would just add to it and give fans of the original movie, a feeling of like more of what they want to see as opposed to, feeling they're just, like I said, just making a movie and using the Ghostbusters name and totally changing what we've already enjoyed. Uh, but I get too negative. I do think there is potential for the movie, and I am curious about it. So, but yeah, Ghostbusters is, like I said, one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm not going to say if this is bad, it'll ruin it. Like I said, I don't feel the prequels ruined my childhood like some people do with Star Wars. I still got plenty of enjoyment out of it, but hopefully it grows on what we've already enjoyed. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and goodbye.